Unexpected encounter. The neon lights of Starbase Zenith pulsed in a hypnotic rhythm, casting an otherworldly glow across the faces of countless alien species mingling in its crowded corridors. Among them, Lieutenant Commander Elena Reeves stood out, not just for her human features, but for the determined glint in her eyes as she navigated the throng. Elena had been stationed on Zenith for 6 standard months, part of an ongoing initiative to improve human-alien relations. Tonight, however, she was off-duty, seeking a brief escape from the pressures of her diplomatic role. She found herself drawn to a small establishment tucked away in a quiet corner of the station. The sign, written in an interstellar pidgin, proclaimed it as the Nebula's Edge. Elena stepped inside, immediately enveloped by the low hum of conversation and the soft strains of what might generously be called music. The bar's patrons represented a dizzying array of galactic life. Tentacled cephalons sipped bubbling concoctions through specialized apparatuses. Crystalline luminae refracted the dim lighting, creating miniature light shows as they moved. In one corner, a group of reptilian saurians engaged in a heated game involving holographic projections and complex hand gestures. Elena made her way to the bar, nodding politely to the various beings she passed. The bartender, a being with 4 arms and iridescent scales, looked up as she approached. "What'll it be, Earthling?" it asked, voice rasping like sand on metal. "Something not too strong," Elena replied. "I'm still on call." The bartender's eye stalks swiveled, and what she had learned was an expression of amusement. It reached beneath the counter and produced a slender bottle filled with a shimmering purple liquid. "Lunarian moonberry wine," it explained. "Mild by most species standards, but it should give you a pleasant buzz." Elena accepted the drink gratefully, turning to survey the room as she sipped. The wine tasted of summer berries with an underlying note of something alien and indescribable. As her eyes roamed the eclectic crowd, they locked onto a pair of startlingly beautiful silver orbs staring right back at her. The owner of those mesmerizing eyes sat alone at a small table. Humanoid in overall appearance, the being possessed skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light, shifting through subtle hues like the surface of a soap bubble. Delicate, feather-like appendages framed its face, twitching slightly as it regarded Elena with open curiosity. Before Elena could decide whether to approach, the alien rose gracefully and glided towards her. Its movements were so fluid it almost appeared to be floating rather than walking. "Greetings, child of Earth," the alien said, its voice melodious and androgynous. "I am Zaraven of the Aethery. Might I join you?" Elena nodded, finding herself momentarily at a loss for words. She had encountered many species during her time on Zenith, but never an Aethery. They were known to be a reclusive race, rarely venturing beyond their home system. "Lieutenant Commander Elena Reeves," she managed after a moment. "It's an honor to meet you, Zaraven. Please, have a seat." As Zaraven settled onto the stool beside her, Elena couldn't help but marvel at the being's ethereal beauty. The Aethery ordered a drink, a clear liquid that seemed to contain swirling galaxies, and turned those captivating silver eyes back to Elena. "Tell me, Elena Reeves," Zaraven said, "what brings a human so far from home?" Elena launched into an explanation of her role on the station, her passion for interspecies cooperation evident in every word. Zaraven listened intently, occasionally asking insightful questions that revealed a deep understanding of galactic politics. As the night wore on, Elena found herself increasingly drawn to the enigmatic alien. There was something about Zaraven, a combination of ancient wisdom and childlike wonder, that she found utterly fascinating. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, touching on topics ranging from the nature of consciousness to the best way to prepare Centaurian slug noodles. Before she knew it, hours had passed. The bar had emptied considerably, and Elena realized with a start that her shift would begin in just a few hours. "I should go," she said reluctantly. "I've got to get some sleep before my next duty rotation." Zaraven nodded, a strange expression flickering across its ever-changing features. "Of course, But before you leave, Elena Reeves, might I make a small request? What is it? Elena asked, curious. Among my people, we have a tradition of sharing essence when we form a connection with another being, Zaraven explained. It is somewhat akin to what you humans call a kiss. Would you honor me with this exchange? Elena hesitated for just a moment. It was an unusual request, but wasn't fostering understanding between species exactly why she had joined this mission. And if she was honest with herself, the idea of kissing the beautiful alien was far from unappealing. I'd be honored, she said softly. Zaraven leaned in, those mesmerizing silver eyes drifting shut. As their lips met, Elena felt a jolt of electricity course through her body. It was like nothing she had ever experienced. A kiss that seemed to touch not just her physical form, but the very essence of her being. When they parted, Elena felt slightly dazed. Zaraven's skin was glowing brighter than before, pulsing with inner light. Thank you, Elena Reeves, the Aetheri said, voice filled with an emotion Elena couldn't quite identify. Until we meet again. With that, Zaraven turned and glided away, leaving Elena to wonder about the strange encounter and the tingling sensation that still lingered on her lips. Little did she know that this seemingly innocent exchange would have consequences beyond anything she could have imagined. The shocking revelation. Elena's head throbbed as she made her way through Starbase Zenith's bustling corridors the next morning. She blamed it on the Lunarian moonberry wine and lack of sleep, trying to push thoughts of the enigmatic Aetheri to the back of her mind. There was work to be done. A delegation from the Saurian Collective was due to arrive, and she needed to be at her diplomatic best. As she rounded a corner towards the docking bay, a familiar shimmer caught her eye. There, standing serenely amidst the chaos of the station, was Zaraven. The Aetheri's skin pulsed with vibrant hues, drawing curious glances from passersby. But it wasn't Zaraven's presence alone that made Elena stop in her tracks. It was what the alien held in its arms. Cradled against Zaraven's chest was a small, wriggling bundle. As Elena watched, dumbfounded, a tiny hand emerged from the swaddling cloths, reaching up towards the Aetheri's face. The hand was unmistakably human in appearance, but with a faint opalescent sheen to the skin. Zaraven. Elena managed, her voice barely above a whisper. What is this? The Aetheri turned those mesmerizing silver eyes on her, a mixture of joy and apprehension evident in their depths. Elena Reeves, Zaraven said, voice as melodious as ever despite the gravity of the moment. I present to you our child. Elena felt the blood drain from her face. She glanced around frantically, grateful that the bustling crowd seemed oblivious to the earth-shattering conversation taking place in their midst. Our what? She stammered. Our child, Zaraven repeated patiently. The product of our essence sharing last night. I must apologize. I should have explained more fully the potential consequences of our interaction. Elena's mind raced. This had to be some kind of joke, right? Or a dream? Maybe she'd had more of that alien wine than she'd thought. But as she looked at the infant in Zaraven's arms, at the unmistakable blend of human and Aetheri features, she knew this was all too real. How is this possible? She asked, struggling to keep her voice level. Humans, we don't reproduce like this. It takes months, years even, to have a child. Zaraven nodded sagely. For the Aetheri, the process is much swifter. When we form a deep connection and share essence with a compatible being, a new life can spring forth almost immediately. It is a rare and precious occurrence, especially with beings from other worlds. Elena felt her knees go weak. She leaned against the corridor wall, trying to process this impossible situation. I have duties, she said weakly. The Saurian delegation. Of course, Zaraven said, a note of sadness creeping into its voice. I understand this is unexpected. Perhaps we could meet later, when your duties are complete. There is much we need to discuss. Elena nodded numbly, her training kicking in despite the shock. My quarters, she heard herself say. 1900 hours. Do you need? Does the baby? We will be fine until then, Zaraven assured her. The little one is remarkably adaptable, as befits a child of two worlds. As if on cue, the infant let out a soft coo, turning its head to regard Elena with eyes that were a striking blend of human green and ethery silver. Despite her turmoil, Elena felt something stirred deep within her at the sight. 1900 hours, she repeated, straightening her uniform. We'll figure this out. Zaraven inclined its head in agreement, the feather-like appendages around its face rippling gently. Until then, Elena Reeves, know that regardless of the unexpected nature of these events, the creation of new life is always a blessing among my people. As the ethery glided away, infant held securely in its arms, Elena was left to face the monumental task of focusing on her diplomatic duties, while her entire world had just been turned upside down. She took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. She was a lieutenant commander in the United Earth Space Force. She had faced down hostile aliens and navigated treacherous political waters. Somehow, she would find a way to handle this too. But as she made her way to greet the Saurian delegation, Elena couldn't shake the image of those tiny opalescent fingers reaching up from the bundle in Zaraven's arms. In less than 24 hours, she had gone from dedicated officer to, what? Mother, co-parent to an alien child. One thing was certain, life on Starbase Zenith was about to get a whole lot more complicated. Adapting to new realities, the Saurian delegation had departed, leaving Elena mentally exhausted but oddly energized. As she approached her quarters, her steps faltered. Behind that door awaited a future she had never imagined for herself. Taking a deep breath, Elena pressed her palm to the scanner. The door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing Zaraven seated on her small sofa, the infant cradled in its arms. The Aethery looked up, silver eyes shimmering with an emotion Elena couldn't quite name. Elena Reeves, Zaraven said softly. Thank you for allowing us into your space. Elena nodded, moving further into the room. Her eyes were drawn to the small bundle. In the light of her quarters, she could see the child more clearly. Its skin seemed to shift between a human peachy tone and the opalescent sheen of the Aethery. Tufts of hair that looked almost like downy feathers adorned its head. May I hold them? Elena asked, surprised by the tremor in her voice. Zaraven stood gracefully, crossing the room to place the infant in Elena's arms. The moment she felt the weight of the child, something inside Elena shifted. This was real. This was happening. What's their name? She whispered, gazing down at the tiny face. Among my people, it is customary for both parents to choose a name, Zaraven explained. I thought perhaps we could blend our traditions. Elena nodded, her mind racing. On Earth, we often name children after family members, or choose names with special meanings. What about your people? Aethery names often reflect the essence of the individual or a hope for their future, Zaraven said. This little one is a bridge between worlds, a symbol of unexpected connections. As if on cue, the baby opened its eyes, revealing that striking blend of human green and ethery silver. Elena felt her breath catch. Lyra, she said suddenly. It's a constellation visible from Earth, the lyre, an instrument of harmony. Zaraven's skin rippled with pleased colors. Lyra Ven, the Aethery suggested. Ven, in my language, means of two hearts. Elena smiled, surprising herself. Lyra Ven, it's perfect. As the newly named Lyra Ven cooed softly, reality came crashing back. Zaraven, Elena said, her voice tight with worry. What are we going to do? I'm not equipped for this. My duties, my career. And I know nothing about raising an Aethery child. Zaraven placed a comforting hand on Elena's arm. The touch sent a subtle warmth through her body, calming her racing thoughts. Among my people, the unexpected is seen as a gift from the universe, the Aethery said. It challenges us to grow, to adapt. I understand this is not a path you chose, Elena Reeves, but I believe you have the strength to walk it. Elena looked down at Lyraven, who had drifted off to sleep in her arms. The child's features seemed to shift subtly as it dreamed, a mesmerizing dance of human and ethery traits. I'll need to inform my superiors, Elena said, her mind already racing through protocols and regulations, none of which, she was certain, covered spontaneous alien-human offspring. Zaraven nodded. And I must contact my people. Such a union is rare and will be celebrated, but it may also raise concerns. The gravity of their situation settled over them. This wasn't just about personal adjustment. Their child's very existence could have interstellar political implications. We'll face it together, Elena found herself saying, surprising herself with her resolve. For Lyraven's sake. The ethery's skin glowed with warmth. Together, Zaraven agreed. Over the next few weeks, Elena's life transformed in ways she could never have imagined. Her superiors, after the initial shock, proved surprisingly supportive. The unique situation was seen as an unprecedented opportunity for human-aethery relations. Elena threw herself into learning everything she could about ethery physiology and culture. Zaraven, in turn, studied human child-rearing practices with fascinating intensity. Together, they created a unique blend of both worlds for Lyraven. They discovered that the child needed both human nutrients and exposure to specific light frequencies to thrive. Lyraven's growth rate was accelerated compared to human infants, but slower than pure ethery offspring. Each day brought new challenges and wonders. Elena found unexpected joy in the quiet moments, watching Lyraven's skin shimmer with happiness during baths, feeling the soft puff of breath against her neck as the child slept. Zaraven's presence became a constant comfort, the ethery's wisdom and calm a perfect balance to Elena's more impulsive human nature. But as Lyraven grew, so did the attention their unusual family attracted. Humans and aliens alike watched with fascination, and sometimes suspicion. Elena overheard whispers in the corridors, concerns about genetic manipulation, fears of how this hybrid child might upset the delicate balance of interstellar politics. One evening, as they sat together in Elena's quarters, Lyraven, now big enough to sit up and play with a holographic toy, Zaraven turned those piercing silver eyes on Elena. "You are troubled," the ethery said softly. Elena sighed, running a hand through her hair. "I'm worried, Zara, about Lyraven's future, about what our child represents to others. We're breaking new ground here, and not everyone sees that as a good thing." Zaraven was quiet for a moment. Watching this, Lyraven's laughter caused the child's skin to ripple with joyful colors. "In my culture," the ethery finally said, "we have a saying, the unknown path is where growth flourishes. We are on such a path now, Elena Reeves. It will not be easy, but I believe it will lead to something beautiful." As Elena looked at her child, at this miracle of two worlds, she felt a fierce protectiveness surge through her. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them. For Lyraven, for Zaraven, for the future they represented. "You're right," she said, reaching out to take Zaraven's hand. "We'll make our own path. Together." Little did they know that their resolve would soon be tested in ways they could never have imagined. Rising threats. The gentle hum of Starbase Zenith's systems was shattered by the shrill wail of alarms. Elena jolted awake, her heart racing. Beside her, Zaraven was already up, cradling a whimpering Lyraven. "What's happening?" Elena asked, quickly pulling on her uniform. Before Zaraven could respond, the station's AI crackled to life over the intercom. "Attention all personnel. Unidentified vessels approaching. Hostile intent suspected. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Elena's training kicked in. "I need to get to the command center," she said, reaching for her communicator. "You too, Schold." Her words were cut off by a violent shudder that ran through the station. The lights flickered ominously. "We're under attack," Elena breathed, her mind racing. The civilian quarters aren't safe. You'll have to come with me. Zaraven nodded, skin pulsing with worried hues. I will protect Lyraven with my life, the Aetheri promised. They made their way through chaotic corridors, other residents stumbling about in confusion and fear. Elena's authority as a lieutenant commander helped clear their path to the command center. As they entered, Elena was hit by a wave of frantic activity. Screens flickered with data streams and tactical displays. In the center of it all stood Admiral Cora, her usually stoic face creased with concern. Reeves, Cora barked. Glad you're here. We've got a situation. What are we dealing with, Admiral? Elena asked, stepping forward while gesturing for Zaraven to stay back with Lyraven. Cora's eyes flicked to the Aetheri and the child before refocusing on Elena, a previously unknown species. They came out of nowhere, using some kind of cloaking technology we've never seen before. They're demanding we hand over. She paused, her gaze once again moving to Zaraven and Lyraven, the hybrid child. Elena felt her blood run cold. What? Why? They claim the child is an abomination, Cora said grimly. A violation of natural law. They say they're here to correct the mistake. Zaraven stepped forward. Lyraven held protectively against its chest. These beings are known to my people, the Aetheri said, its melodious voice tinged with fear. They are called the Purifiers. They believe in absolute genetic purity, violently opposing any form of interspecies breeding. Another tremor shook the station. Alarms blared as new data streamed across the screens. They've breached our outer defenses, a tactical officer called out. Boarding parties detected in sectors 3 and 7. Elena's mind raced. They were outgunned, outmaneuvered, and now being invaded. But there was no way in hell she was going to let anyone harm her child. Admiral, she said, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. I have an idea. But it's risky, and I'll need your trust. Cora studied her for a moment, then nodded. At this point, Reeves, I'm open to anything. What do you need? Elena turned to Zaraven. You once told me that Aetheri can share more than just physical essence, that you can share knowledge, memories. Is that true? Zaraven's eyes widened in understanding. Yes, but Elena, such a deep sharing between our species has never been attempted. The strain could be significant. We don't have a choice, Elena said firmly. I need to understand Aetheri biology, your natural defenses, everything you know about these purifiers. And I need it now. Zaraven hesitated for only a moment before nodding. For Lyraven, the Aetheri said softly. As the chaos of the attack swirled around them, Elena and Zaraven joined hands. Lyraven, sensing the gravity of the moment, remained unusually still between them. The sensation was unlike anything Elena had ever experienced. It was as if her mind was expanding, filling with millennia of Aetheri knowledge and experience. She saw strange worlds, felt the ebb and flow of energies she'd never known existed. And there, at the core of it all, was an understanding of the Aetheri's unique biology, their ability to adapt, to change, to become something new. When they broke apart, Elena staggered, her head spinning. But along with the disorientation came a clarity of purpose. Admiral, she said, her voice ringing with newfound confidence, I know how we can stop the purifiers. But I'll need access to the station's main power core and environmental controls. Cora didn't hesitate. Do it. As Elena raced to implement her plan, Zaraven cradled Lyraven close. The child's eyes, that striking blend of human green and Aetheri silver, watched the unfolding drama with an eerie calmness. In that moment, as the future of multiple species hung in the balance, Lyraven represented more than just a unique hybrid. The child was a symbol of hope, of the endless possibilities that arise when differences are embraced rather than feared. And now, it was up to Elena, armed with the combined knowledge and determination of two worlds, to ensure that future had a chance to unfold. Triumph of human spirit. Alina's fingers flew across the control panels, her mind racing with newfound knowledge. The essence sharing with Zaraven had given her insights into ethery biology that no human had ever possessed. Now, she was combining that alien wisdom with human ingenuity in a desperate gambit to save the station and her child. Divert all non-essential power to the environmental systems, she ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. And prepare for a station-wide atmospheric shift. The technicians looked at her in confusion, but Admiral Cora's nod spurred them into action. As they worked, Alina turned to Zaraven. "I need you to take Lyraven and get to the central hub," she said urgently. "Your natural abilities will be crucial for this to work." Zaraven's skin pulsed with worried colors, but the Aetheri nodded in understanding. "Be safe, Alina Reeves," it said softly before gliding away. Lyraven held close. Another violent tremor shook the station. "Purifiers have breached Sector 5. A tactical officer shouted. "They're advancing on the central hub." Alina gritted her teeth. It was now or never. Initiate atmospheric shift. Now. The light's Dimbus power was redirected. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, a subtle change began to ripple through the air. It was as if the very atmosphere of the station was coming alive, shimmering with an ethereal energy that reminded Alina of Zaraven's shifting skin. On the security feeds, they watched as the advancing purifiers began to falter. Their movements became sluggish, confused. Some collapsed entirely, their environment suits clearly unprepared for the sudden change. "What did you do?" Admiral Cora asked, her eyes wide with wonder. Alina allowed herself a small smile. "I've infused the station's atmosphere with a unique blend of ethery bioluminescent particles and a modified version of their natural defensive pheromones. It's harmless to most species, but for the purifiers, with their obsession with genetic purity, it's overwhelming their systems." As they watched, Zaraven appeared on the main view screen, standing in the central hub with Lyraven. The ethery skin was glowing brighter than Alina had ever seen, pulsing in rhythm with the shimmering air around them. Lyraven, too, seemed to be resonating with the energy, the child's hybrid nature allowing it to amplify the effect throughout the station. "It's working." Zaraven's melodious voice came through the comm system. "The purifiers are retreating. Their ships are powering down their weapons." A cheer went up through the command center. Alina sagged against the console, relief washing over her. They had done it. They had saved the station, saved Lyraven, and possibly changed the course of interstellar relations forever. In the days that followed, the full impact of their actions became clear. The defeated purifiers, once they recovered, were forced to confront the reality that their ideology of genetic purity was fundamentally flawed. The very hybrid nature they had sought to destroy had been the key to their defeat. News of the incident spread rapidly across the galaxy. Starbase Zenith, once a minor outpost, became a symbol of unity and the power of diversity. Delegations from dozens of species arrived, all eager to learn more about the unique family at the center of it all. Alina found herself thrust into a new role, not just as a diplomat, but as a bridge between worlds. Her unique blend of human determination and ethery knowledge made her an invaluable asset in fostering understanding between species. Zaraven, too, embraced this new reality. The Ethery's people, initially wary of the hybrid child, now saw Lyraven as a beacon of hope for the future. And Lyraven, the child grew and thrived, embodying the best of both worlds. With each passing day, it became clearer that Lyraven's existence was not a mistake to be corrected, but a gift to be cherished. One evening, as they stood together in the observatory, watching the stars shine against the velvet blackness of space, Alina felt a profound sense of peace wash over her. "You know," she said softly to Zaraven, "when I first came to this station, I thought I knew exactly what my future held. I never could have imagined this." Zaraven's skin shimmered with warm, happy colors. "The universe has a way of surprising us," the Aetheri replied. "It is in these unexpected moments that we truly grow." Between them, Lyravan cooed softly, reaching out to touch the viewport with tiny fingers that shimmered with both human and Aetheri traits. Alina smiled, her heart full. The path ahead was still uncertain, filled with challenges they had yet to face. But as she stood there with her unconventional family, she knew that together they could handle whatever the universe threw their way. For in the end, it wasn't about being human or Aetheri or any other single species. It was about the universal language of love, the power of connection, and the endless possibilities that arise when we dare to embrace the unknown. As Lyraven's laughter echoed through the observatory, Alina knew that their story, the story of humanity's resilience, of love that transcended species, of a future where differences were celebrated rather than feared, was just beginning. And what a story it would be.